Hey now guys, what is happening? Back with another book for y'all today. This one being volume 12, RuneQuest of Thor. Boy, it feels like it was like a week ago that I last did a review, but I guess it was 4 days ago. I took Labor Day off from reading. I finished volume 11 of Kingdom Lost on the 31st, took Labor Day off, and then started this on the 2nd. Read it on the 3rd and 4th, which is today. So I'm done, guys. The customary 3 days. It takes me 2 to 3 days to read an epic. What's it? 456 pages of Thor. This one came out in 2016, 9 years ago. No second print. We've got Doug Mensch, who wraps up his run with issue 328. Then Alan Zelenitz takes over with 329 all the way through 336. And it also does annual 11, which is also featured in here. We get material from Bizarre Adventures number 32, which is a black and white adventure of Thor. And what else? Doug Mensch, Zelenitz. We get Alan Kupperberg. So we got the two Alans, Zelenitz and Kupperberg. We have Bob Hall, who also did some fill-ins and annual 11. And Mark Bright, who did the... what was it? 333, 4, and 5 of Thor. So, where do we begin? Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say, guys, this is the 12th and final consecutive issue since Volume 1, all the way here. Just to put it into perspective, guys, that's 12 consecutive volumes, 21 consecutive years from 1962 to 1983. And... that's like from Journey into Mystery number 83 all the way to Thor 336. So now we're going to jump 3 volumes that haven't been released. We'll get volume 13 next year, March 3rd of next year. So 13, 14, and 15, then we'll jump to volume 16, War of the Pantheons, which, not incidentally, but interestingly enough, it is the second epic to be released way back in 2013. After Volume 10, The Enemy Within of Iron Man. Iron Man was the first, Volume 10 of Iron Man. Then War of the Pantheons of Thor, Volume 16 was the second. That'll be the next book. So yeah, so we're gonna skip, we're gonna skip 337 through 382. So that's like what? 40, that's through the math, 45 plus 1. So that's 46 issues we're gonna skip and start with Thor number 383 of volume 16. So yeah, this volume, guys, first of all, this is from issue 334, the first part of the RuneQuest storyline, which is what the title comes from. And this is from annual 11 of Thor, which is the very last story in this book. Yeah, it's Doug Mensch and Zelenitz. I just want to also clarify, Zelenitz was not a producer on Back to the Future. My mistake, I mentioned that in the last video. I'd seen his name in credits, and for some reason, Mandela effect, I thought it was Back to the Future, but evidently I'm wrong. But he did, I think he produced Darren Aronofsky's movies, or he was, I know Darren Aronofsky's father was Zelenitz's mentor in college or whatever. But anyway, who cares? Who gives a fuck? Let's talk about Thor. The story's here. By the way, I want to say, if you're wondering why did Thor relocate to Chicago, look no further, guys, than Doug Buttmunch himself, who was born and raised in Chicago. And I guess he broached the idea of sending Thor to Chicago to Jim Shooter, who was the editor-in-chief at the time. And I was like, hey, Jim, let's relocate Thor from New York to Chicago because there is a whole heck of a lot of heroes in New York anyway. Why not take him to Chicago? I mean, why not? You know, Iron Man, Tony Stark went to Los Angeles. Daredevil, Matt Murdock went to San Francisco. So why not Thor go to Chicago? So yeah. And I have a feeling when our good buddy Walt Simonson takes over in the next volume, Thor returns to New York. Or maybe I guess he goes to Asgard, right? And that's where he becomes Frog. Beta Ray Bill takes over. So I'm actually looking forward to that next volume. Here, though, Thor is walking amongst the mortals with Sif in Chicago. She hates it, and she wants to go back to Asgard as soon as possible. There's oh God, I forgot, but there was a cool epic battle where Loki finally, Loki and Tyr are planning to, that was the Serpent of Midgard saga, which starts in, I'll tell you what, hold on. I'm not going to just guess this. I'm going to find out for you guys. Hold on. Right, 327. So it starts in issue 324. So there's the backup stories. The Tales of Asgard are in 324, 5, and 6 of Thor, which details Loki and Tyr, who is the Asgardian of war, the equivalent, the counterpart of Ares, who is for the Olympians. So Tyr and Loki conspired to attack Odin, overthrow him as king of Asgard, lord of Asgard, whatever. And interestingly enough, they actually get very close. They get close. Odin has no choice but to send himself, Sif, the Warriors 3. Oddly enough, Frigga and Sigyn, Odin's wife Frigga and Loki's wife Sigyn, are not sent to Asgard. I don't know where. Sent to Earth. I don't know where the fuck they were during the storyline. But everybody, even Heimdall, leaves Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge, and exile to Earth, while Loki and Tyr are invading and succeed in capturing Asgard. They end up not in Chicago at first. Thor manages to get Tony Stark to have the Asgardians use his Long Island complex to keep them there. And that's where actually Tyr and Loki take the fight to them over on Long Island. That all culminates in issue 327. But Loki, Loki realized that Frigga, the only reason why he did this was because he saw he saw Odin and Frigga together, and he assumed, they're back in love, and he's cheating on, no, not Frigga, my bad, guys. Jolena. So there's this Queen Jolena of the Hinterlands, who was once Odin's lover was it before or during his love with Frigga? I don't know. But he had this woman on the side named Jolena, was in love with her, but then he married Frigga. And so then Loki thought that Odin and Jolena were getting back together behind Frigga's back. But it turned out not. It turned out he was saying goodbye to Jolena. Jolena was engaged in this war with her people against the wolf warriors of Utgard. And then Loki's like, oh shit, I fucked up. So then he turns on Tyr, sides with Odin and Thor legitimately, and he makes this great speech where he's like, I am no longer the god of evil. The god of mischief, yes, but not evil. Or something like that. Like, he's like, a little mischief is okay, but evil, I am not. I should have pulled the quote out because it's actually pretty good. I don't know if you guys will get this book. It was on the shelves in my comic book store. And this book is like 9 years old. So if you guys are lucky, maybe you'll get it maybe you'll find it. If not, order it online. But yeah, RuneQuest Volume 12. But yeah, Loki. And I knew that at some point Loki's not an evil guy. Maybe he is. But I feel like it's better suited that he's a mischievous anti-hero kind of character and not just evil, because then he's not interesting, But anyway, issue 327 is a turning point for Loki. And and Odin said something very profound. He was like, I'm paraphrasing, I'm getting it wrong, but he basically said he came to his senses. Like he grew up and came to his senses, which I thought was cool. So Loki, Thor, Odin, and the other Asgardians beat Tyr and the storm giants and the trolls. Again, they fight and they win. That was pretty cool. Some people he battles, Thor battles some dude named Crusader, who actually beats Thor. So then Sif has to bring him to Asgard to heal himself, and then he learns that because he's got worshippers and whatever, giving him power, whereas Thor has these other people that he doesn't believe. Thor has this problem now of people believing in him. And it's actually explained in Thor Annual 11, where he discovers that the Vikings, who he loved, like they worshiped Thor, but then he discovered that the Vikings were murdering and killing monks and priests, you know, in the churches and whatever. So he was like, no more. I don't want anyone praying for me. Go fuck yourselves. And he told this to Odin. He's like, I don't want this. So now people are believing in Thor because he saves this girl from committing suicide, and everybody wants to worship him, but he's so conflicted over it, and that's what weakens him. Okay, whatever. The beginning, I should actually say, the first 3 issues was the 3-part menagerie of Rimthursar. There's this dude named Rimthursar who has this menagerie of 5 Asgardian beings who take the shape of animals. Well, one is a mermaid, one is like a snake human, a mermaid, a bull human, or like an anthropoid. One is a bear human, and they come to. It was way back and forth. It was like they're on Earth and they're on Asgard, but they can't go back to Asgard because they're half mortal. What's his name? Thor's girlfriend, Shauna Lind, who's also a doctor, is Kyrie. Kyrie's one of the menagerie. She's like a hawk woman with titties. You can actually see like her titties, no nipples, but just titties. It was good, but you know, I don't know. It just felt lame. Doug Mensch wrote this, and I just think Doug Mensch is better suited for street level stories rather than the fantastic, like Asgardian gods. But I enjoyed the RuneQuest later on, which was 334 and 5, because Sif, they're looking for Jane. Apparently Jane, her fiance, Dr. Keith Kincaid, has accused Don Blake of murdering Jane. Of course, we know that didn't happen, that she became Sif. But apparently, when Sif, this is like way back in issue 249 of Thor, when they went to Asgard and Jane transformed into Sif, when she hit that sword, Sif stayed as Sif and Jane just disappeared. So the RuneQuest, which is just a 2-parter, is like, well, what the fuck happened to Jane Foster? Turns out that Kamo Tharn, who would become the possessor, got his rune staff back and sucked in Jane's personality, Jane, inside of himself, along with like thousands of academy students. It's a long drawn out story. Long story short, Thor and Sif and Keith Kincaid. I don't know why they brought Keith Kincaid with them. He's a human. He has no powers, but they did. They take him to Kamo Tharn's planet, which, as you remember in 235, 236 of Thor, Sif and Hercules had gone prior. This was volume 7, I believe. Ulick Unchained, yeah. So check that out if you don't know what I'm talking about. Wow, 5 volumes ago. And yeah, so now 100 issues later, it's, again, Jane Foster's saga, Sif's saga. Interestingly enough, I bring this up because it was 136 was when Jane failed in her Asgardian trial and left Don, Thor's life. Odin banished her. That was in 136. Then in 236, Sif brought Jane out of her coma and inhabited her body and whatever. Now in 335, 336, another 100 years later, 100 issues later, not years, issues, we have another saga involving Sif and Jane. So I thought it was interesting. I wonder if that was like calculated, if they did that on purpose. 135, 136, 235, 236, and 335, 36 is like a Jane Sif thing. Anyway, so of course they rescue Jane. Jane is now separated from Sif. And Jane is in love with Keith. They get married in 336 while Sif and Thor are together. So that resolves that soap opera triangle. But Sif is unhappy. Sif is like, I want to go back to Asgard. So she finally leaves Thor and says, I'm going, pal. Sorry, not sorry. And Thor's like, well, I love Earth. I'm half Earthian. So, by the way, I wanted to also clarify this from Volume 10's discussion. Thor's mother, by the way, her name is Jord, who is Mother Earth, the goddess of Earth, not Mother Earth. I mean, she could be like Gaia, right? Gaia, Yord, Mother Earth. So, oops. Just wanted to clarify. Another mistake that I forgot to. I should have put that in my something I missed short. Anyway, and there's also a fight against Dracula, which was pretty cool. That was what, 332 to 333, where Thor fights Dracula. And that, of course, carries into Doctor Strange number 60. Doctor Strange helps him. At first, Thor is asking for Doctor Strange's help in finding the rune staff. But then he discovers, oh, Sif has been bitten by Dracula to be his bride. So now Thor has to save Sif from Dracula. Ugh, my fucking neighbors. Anyway, shut up out there, you goddamn people. I hate people, guys. No, but I love you, I promise, and I love myself. Anyway, so Thor fights Dracula. Thor wins, of course. Dracula escapes. It was really fucked up, though, because Dracula bit like 3 high school students and turned them into vampires and sent them after Thor. Yeah. Some references to General Hospital was made, the soap opera, which I thought was kind of funny. And a lot of soap opera stuff, not soap opera, but a lot of scenes were happening in a hospital involving Dawn. Before Dawn goes to rescue Jane on Kamotharn's planet, people are like whispering that, oh, he murdered Jane, and the nurses and the doctors. So yeah, what else? I think that's it. I don't know, guys. This was an okay book. I mean, it's 80s now, 82, 83. We're, I guess, done with the Bronze. I think the modern age started in 1985, so this is still latter day Bronze Age stuff. But I don't know. I think the 70s was the Bronze Age, and then like 1980 was modern, because it does feel like people talking normally and not weird the way Stan Lee wrote, or Roy Thomas, or Archie Goodwin, or Len Wein, or Marv Wolfman. Guys, you guys have read the epics. So we're now in the 80s. Jim Shooter, of course, has long been the editor-in-chief, so everything's now condensed and boiled down and modernized. God, I know I'm missing something. What else am I missing? There were a lot of corny. There was Captain Ultra. He fought some dude named Captain Ultra in 336. Oh, Megatack. He fought some dude named Megatack, who gets sucked into a video game, which is interesting because arcades and Atari. Oh yeah, there was also a reference to Atari in one of the issues, which was, for those of you who don't know, that was like the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X or the Switch 2 of the late 70s, early 80s, which I used to play as a kid. My brother and I used to play ColecoVision and Atari 2600. Oh my God. Anyway, so video games. There's an issue where Sif and later Thor fight Megatack, which is and they make references to Pac-Man too. Pac-Man was also referenced. Pac-Man, of course, was a very popular arcade game back in the day, and also one of the shittiest Atari games ever made. Anyway, so that's that. We are now in the 80s. Crazy to think that the 1st of August, I started with Volume 1 in the 60s, and now, over a month later, we're in the 80s, guys. So that wraps that up. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I feel like I'm getting a little repetitive there, guys. So I'm going to end the video with the next book. Like I said, this is Volume 16, War of the Pantheons, covering 1987 to 1989, and Thor number 383 all the way to 400. So what was that? 18. So that's 18 issues consecutive, no annuals, no crossovers, just Thor issues, which I love. It's very consistent that way. This is also the start of Tom DeFalco, who of course will become the editor-in-chief. He'll take over for Jim Shooter in 1987, same year that this starts in 87. So Tom DeFalco is writing and editing Thor and Marvel itself, along with Ron Frenz, and it's just them, DeFalco and Frenz. Cool. I think also probably his brother Randall tags along. Let's see, hold on. We got Tom DeFalco and Roger Stern with Jim Shooter, Stan Lee, Ron Frenz, and Randall Frenz. Those are the writers. And then pencils, we got Ron Friends, Eric Larson, ooh, and Bob Hall with, what's this? Rich Yanizeski, Gary Hartle, and Charles Vess. Okay. I know Charles Vess. Charles Vess, I'm familiar with this. I don't know him. And this, guys, is, as I mentioned, the second epic ever to be released after Iron Man Volume 10, The Enemy Within. So this is the second ever release. And this, by the way, this is the first print. I think this is the, this hasn't been released yet. So this is an original, authentic book from 2013. So this is a 12-year-old book, and it's actually in very good shape. I got this wrapped. It was like shrink wrapped, and I took it out. Oh, and actually, no, or maybe not. No, I think that was the Captain America. Anyway, who cares? But I got this very cheap on Amazon, guys. So if you are interested, I highly recommend. And I did check a while back. It's still pretty cheap. Pretty cheap meaning like $30, $40, $50. So definitely get it, guys. War of the Pantheons, plural, which I assume they're going to take on Olympus, Asgard, the Hindus, the Native American pantheon, all the gods. So, all right, guys, that's that. And then it finishes up with 400 in the anniversary issue. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking too much. Guys, take care. I read these epics so you don't have to. This video was Volume 12, RuneQuest. And that is it, guys. The consecutive streak is broken. We go from 12 to 16. And yes, Volume 13, The Search for War, will come out March 3rd, 2026. So be sure to get that, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.